Dickinson, welcome. Now, we did talk about the shine for both of us earlier, so Pat, you're going to do something about that, all right?
Yep.
But we're here to celebrate. Richie, CEO of Table Tennis Victoria, tell us, how did you find about TTS? And off the back of that, where are you taking TTV? Because I know you're a super innovative, driven man.
Sure. I think I LinkedIn stalked you. I think we obviously got similar networks, and I must have added you, and you very kindly accepted me at some stage.
I was like, he's from the UK.
Yeah.
He's in. He's got a northern accent. He's
and
in.
I realised you were an Essex girl, and that's where I went to uni, so obviously synergies.
Yes, clearly.
And I think you guys stood out to me because you were playing in that space where we needed to be, or I thought we needed to be, which is that digital, sort of social, non-traditional participation space from a sports perspective. So I think I reached out to you and we went from there.
We did. I saw in my inbox, CEO, Table Tennis Victoria, Richie Hinton, and I was like, accept!
Yeah, I'm going to change the job title to Ping Pong Boss.
A ping pong
I
boss.
think it's better.
Hey, it's cool though, it's trendier.
And just the business cards would be a lot cooler. Ping Pong Boss.
Ping pong boss. Yeah, well, that would be an even quicker accept in the inbox, wouldn't it, really? So, you've obviously engaged us to do some really fun work.
Yeah.
Tell us for what purpose? Like, what does that look like? I mean, I can tell you, but I want
sure.
Got to hear it from the client, right?
So it became really obvious to me, not just in this job, to be honest. I previously worked in different sports, in national roles, and it became really obvious to me that a lot of sports spend a lot of time dealing with their existing customers, which of course need to be respected, but it's not where the growth is going to come from. People like competition, people like high performance, and that's what they tend to gravitate towards. But in this day and age, that's not where our growth was going to come from. And our sport particularly is a really social sport.
Yes, it is. I'm sure we've all played table tennis / ping pong.
Well, I can roll
Family
out the
barbecue.
stats. There's some amazing stats around, where we sit in terms of, you just ask that basic question of which of these sports have you played once or more in the last 12 months? Ping pong comes up 8th.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, and it was above massive sports.
What comes up 7th? Just putting you on the spot.
I don't know. But I'll tell you what it wasn't. I'll tell you what wasn't above us. What wasn't above us is AFL.
Oh, wow.
Cricket, netball, they're all below us. And that, don't get me wrong, I love AFL, I love cricket, so this is not bashing big sports. Soccer was above us and basketball was in terms of the big note sports. But interestingly, sports 1, 2 and 3 were cycling, swimming, and running. Because everyone probably watching this and in this room has done those 3 things. But it's the same challenge that we've got, which is they haven't, probably single digit percentages of those guys are actually members of their sports governing bodies. And we want to change that. But to change that, we've got to look at different product solutions. So this is where you guys came in.
Just hands.
Drum roll. We've done a little bit of work. The catalyst was we've done some work with Vic Sport. Guy there called Tom Dixon, who's really great in the innovation space. And he wanted to work with some of his SSOs. We shared a similar space in the precinct over in Albert Park. So we kicked off the participation project with him. But then it becomes, I guess, bringing it to life, putting some of those initiatives into play, and that's where you need to get that sort of like commercial and external innovation savvy, because we're a small organisation, as are a lot of SSOs, when you step away from those really big commercial guys like the AFL. And you guys play in this space every day, and you're a lot more at the cutting edge of what's new. So rather than us trying to sit there in our little offices and trying to reinvent the wheel all the time, it makes sense for us to engage guys like you who've been there and done it, and you're constantly aware of different tweaks and best practice.
And it's exciting to have someone so thinks outside the box. You're not staying in your lane traditionally. You're just looking for other ways to grow, to engage, to enhance that participation, and obviously grow the sport.
I think to be honest, I'm not sure I was always like that. I think to be honest, it's just
that's personal impressions.
No, I think I'm like that now. I like to think I am, but I've now worked across several different sports. So I started off. I played a lot of elite sort of soccer when I was junior, and cricket to a certain extent, and my go-to sports are those. I worked professionally in soccer and in cricket before moving to table tennis. And you know what? There's very little that is unique to the problems that these sports face.
Right.
They've all got, whether it's facility pressure, they want more money, they want more members, they want more. And every sport thinks it's a bit different, but the longer I spend in sport, it's been over 15 years now working purely in sports administration, there's very little that I found that is really unique to that specific sport. So looking at non-traditional participation, there's no reason why other sports shouldn't be doing this. It's just that sometimes I think because big sports are big, you look at a sport like AFL or cricket, and I'm sorry to anyone that's watching from those, but great sports. But it's understandable that they, I guess, stick with what they know, or and don't get me wrong, some of those sports are innovating. They've had to with T20, for example. And now they've gone to the 100 in England. We'll be bowling at one stump soon, or and AFL tried it with AFLX. So every sport gets it. My sport, I just feel it's just that need is really exaggerated because the, I guess, professional, organised element of it is actually quite minimal, and my opportunity is almost in the 98% that's not there. Then you overlay that with the demographics and where we are, and we're sat here in Melbourne having this conversation. I'm the, obviously, state CEO of Victoria. Huge demographics, migrants from Asia, whether that's China, whether it's India, whether it's Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Malaysia. These are big growth demographics. There's 1 billion Chinese people that play our sport. India, massive at our sport. Commonwealth champions from places like India. So it's a no-brainer to start playing in that social space in the country where we live.
Can you tell us a bit more around where you're taking it without disclosing the exact where
there's disclaimers to scientists. Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that the solutions that we're looking at these days are going to be digital ones. It's not about getting people into bricks and mortar. I think too often sports are looking for this silver bullet of transition from social casual participation into rusted on member. And of course, if that happens, that's probably what nirvana looks like for all sports. But I think I think it's pretty naive for sports to just concentrate and think in those terms. So I'd be happy almost to think of it in two pillars. You've got your traditional space, and ideally there'd be some movement over from the second pillar, which is your social and participation space. And it's not about getting people into a predetermined venue all the time to play a certain style at a certain time. So I think that lends itself towards more flexible and digital solutions. Now, what that ultimately looks like, I'm not sure. We're going to work there with you. But I think, you're talking about apps, you're talking about websites, you're talking about online, and you're not traditional 5-set matches and you 3-hour Tuesday night marathons, which is what the sort of 1950s models of a lot of sports has looked like.
I get it. So, what does success look like 12 months? No, not even 12 months, 24 months from now. What's going to happen there?
I'm glad you said 24, because I think
we're going to be too quick.
It's going to take me a while to bounce back, I think, from COVID, and there's a bit of uncertainty around that, obviously. Do you get back to 2019 levels straight away? So you're right, 12 months has become 24. But what it looks like is, I think, an ethnically more diverse participation base. And I say participation, not membership, because I think they're two different things. One of the areas we're actually good in that we're pretty gender neutral, so I don't feel like we need to really concentrate on that. It's one of those sports that is, because it's not a big alpha male sport, that's always been just blokes. So I don't have to spend too much time in that space, but the ethnic diversity piece is big for us. And also, I think if we can expand our geographical footprint a little bit more, at the minute we are quite, and it's all to do with facilities, obviously. So it'd be nice if we could expand our footprint, and we've got some really interesting, albeit embryonic, conversations with a couple of LGAs, who themselves are thinking a lot more like we're thinking now. They're thinking a lot more around active recreation and participation, not just here's an oval, here's some goals, pay as a rental agreement. They're thinking a lot more flexibly as well. And some of the more really forward-thinking councils, especially those in those sort of outer growth corridors, I think they're going to be really, really interesting partners for us to work with.